Hey Jake, so I got your email. You still have questions about the array list and the for loop and how you can use that um, in the midterm. So let's take a look first at that music organizer class again. So here's a for each loop right here with the tracks array list. Let me pull up the project. So in Music Organizer, we have this array list of tracks, and whenever we want to do something to the individual tracks, we use a for each loop. So we say for each track in tracks, we can get artist or get title or whatever. We can get the file name. Let's see. There's more examples in here. So yeah, there are a few examples in here. You can get the details on each individual tracks by going through every track in the tracks array list. You can do something, okay? Again here. So we're looking at every track in the tracks array list and doing something with every track. Right? So in animation here, you're making an array list of squares, right? And you're adding all these squares here. So you've added 5 squares. And actually, you know what? I would add the squares after I've created them. I'll put that down here. Okay, so now you've added all these squares to your array list, so now you can make a for each loop with your for your squares class, right? So you could do let's go back to the track example again. Oops, wait. So just like here, we said for each track in the tracks array, what we want to do for this guy is let me paste this in. We want to loop through every square in the squares array list and call this square. Okay, and then let's do auto layout, compile. What happened here? Oh yeah. So yeah, so like I mentioned before, you're getting this error. It says cannot find symbol method animate. Animate is a method in the square class. Okay, so just like here, we would get an error if we said tracks dot get artist, because the array list doesn't have get artist as a method. Only track does. Okay, so here array list, let me show you what array list is. Array list is a class from the that's part of the Java library. So if we look it up like this, so the Java library comes with a bunch of classes already built for you that have their own methods. So here's the array list class. Okay, and you can find documentation on all these extra classes that have been written for you. The ArrayList class is in the java.util package, so you have to say import java.util. Let's just make sure we have that already. Yeah, so you're importing the array list here. So that's good. And so and the documentation shows you all the different methods that you can call on array list. So you can add things to an array list. So that's why it's perfectly fine to do something like like this. We can call add on squares, okay, because array lists have an add method, okay, but array lists don't have an animate method. The class that has an animate method is the square class, right? Because you wrote that one. Where is it? Right here, animate. Okay, so you already wrote an animate class for this guy. All right. So we can loop through and pull each individual square and call animate on that guy. So now we can say square animate, and we can compile that. Okay. Now this is going to get you a little bit closer, but you're still going to have to do some thinking. So let's see what happens here. So if I say new animation now, and I say draw, what happens? So there's one that's animating. I have to think about exactly what's going on here. Then another one's animating. So it looks like they're doing animate, but they're doing it one at a time. So let's look at what's going on here. So we're looping through all these squares, and one at a time we're telling one of the squares to animate for 500 steps. Well, if it animates for 500 steps, that means that the first one's going to animate for 500 steps, and then the next one's going to animate for 500 steps, and so on and so on and so on. Okay? So you're only going to do one at a time here. Let's see. Vertical. Okay, so you're setting them up. So you're going to have to think about, oh yeah, so what happens when you call animate? Well, when you call animate, you change position however many times it says in steps here. So as you're looping through, when you call animate 500, you animate the first square 500 times. Then you animate the next square 500 times. Then you animate the next square 500 times. Okay? So you need to do some thinking about what you can do to make it so that really the idea is to make it look like they're all going at once. You kind of have to make one move a little bit, then another one move a little bit, then another one move a little bit each time through your loop. And so it's going to take some thinking, but I'll let you think about it for a little bit, see what you can figure out, and then if you're still having problems, just give me another email. All right? Good luck.